Hi. This instructional video is about finding the areas of given polygons, finding the area of a polygon. There's three formulas that I want to introduce. Of course, you have seen this before. One formula for finding area of a polygon is going to be about a rectangle. Or a quadrilateral in this case, to be specific. If you see a rectangle where two lines are parallel to each other, and if they're in 90 degree, all four, then of course the area formula is to multiply the given length and the width. In general, length is described as horizontal line and width is vertical. But since you're taking the product of those two numbers, so you're going to multiply it anyway, it really does not matter which one's which, as long as you have two given measurements. Another one is a triangle, the fewest number-sided polygon. Any triangle, whether it's a right or a scalene or an isosceles, there's always a height. Keep in mind, sometimes the height, in some schools, they use the word altitude to describe the height of given polygon. And for the altitude or the height to be correct, it must be perpendicular to the given base. It has to be 90 degrees. So you're looking for a dimension that is exactly perpendicular or at the right angle of the base of the triangle. So only thing you're looking for is the height and the base. So it's base times the height, or the entire base times the height. It's always the base times the height. And then a triangle is, if you notice, half of a quadrilateral. Therefore, the area of a triangle is given as 1/2 times the base times the height. Or sometimes you could write that as area is equal to base times height divided by 2. Either way, it is half of a quadrilateral. See, think about it. If this was a quadrilateral or rectangle, and if you slice it in half, doesn't that form a right triangle? And there's two of them. And since the triangle is half of it, it's 1/2. The base, the length, and the height, or the width. And then another one is when you have one pair of parallel lines, but the other one isn't, is a trapezoid. Defined as just one set of parallel lines. These two are not parallel. Sometimes they're equal, but sometimes they're not. In this case, this is called a trapezoid, and the formula for the area of a trapezoid is area is equal to 1/2 times the sum of the base 1 plus base 2 times the height. Okay? So that's the formula. And again, the height comes from the given dimension that is exactly 90 degrees or perpendicular to one of the base of the trapezoid. So there's your three formulas for the area of these polygons, and let's see if we could apply it to these examples. Okay then, let me go ahead and move this over to the side so we can look at it while we evaluate 1A. Here is a quadrilateral. Obviously, it's a rectangle because we have two pairs of parallel lines at right angle. So the formula we want to use is area is equal to length times width. Area equals length times the width. And in general, the length is described as the horizontal line. It really doesn't matter, but We just want to put it in an appropriate place. 7 times the 5 unit measurements. So that equals 5 times 7, which is 35. And if these were given in meters, you have to say meter times a meter is a meter squared. And so that becomes the answer for that particular example. Why don't you try number 1b? Okay, if you said, is there any particular formula for square? Well, if you notice, the square also has 2 pairs of parallel lines at 9 degrees. It just happens to be that all 4 sides are congruent. So we can still use the same formula as a rectangle. So area equals length times width. Some books will tell you that a square is basically area is equal to a given side squared. But it's the same thing. Side times a side is a side square. Length times width. So I just use the same one. So in this case, side square, 5 squared is going to be 25. Or in this case, length is going to be 5 because it's congruent to that line. Width is also given as 5. Oops. 5 I mean. Therefore, 5 times 5 is 25. And if that was given in a measurement of meters, this will be meters squared. Pretty straightforward, isn't it?